This video tutorial will give you an opportunity to try our new Active Directory integrated features, which are now available within the RadApp. Additionally, we'll offer an easy way into RadHQ, so you have access to the many resources within. We believe these features will provide a more seamless authentication experience in that a single unified password can be used between all of our applications. Do understand before viewing this video that these new features may not work appropriately if you haven't followed the vRad Best Practices document. Highlighted in this document is the network setup, which asks that your workstation be networked directly through our Cisco ASA hardware VPN. If your system is not set up according to the Best Practices document, you may encounter some issues while going through this video. Should you encounter problems or require assistance, we have 24/7 support ready to assist. The logon screen remains mostly unchanged, with some slight upgrades to logos and font. The RadApp will save the username of the last logged in user. You should write this down, along with the password that you currently use, because you'll need them for the next step. When you've written these down, let's go ahead and clear the username field. Now we will input your Active Directory username and password, which would match the username and password used to access webmail or the scheduling portal. Note that you must have the /VRC before the username. The password used should be the same password used for email. When you believe you have the username and password entered correctly, go ahead and click OK to continue the logon process. If you receive a message indicating that you have an authentication failure, you should try your username and password combination again. Please recognize the importance of the /VRC before the username. If you continue having issues, you can still log on using your old username and password if you need to read studies. At this time, you can also call the tech support line, and we can typically address the password issues very quickly. If you signed in correctly, you will be presented with a small window indicating that the Windows account used has not been registered with a RIS account. Remember the username and password from your notes? That username and password should be placed into this logon box. This login will bind your Active Directory account information with your RIS information. Click OK to continue logging into RIS. Note that if you entered an incorrect username and password, you will be returned to the main login window. If you believe you typed inaccurate information, go ahead and repeat the login process from this window. Remember, you should use your Active Directory information for this logon. If you go through this step and are still redirected back to the original login page, two scenarios may be in play. The first scenario is that you may be using incorrect credentials in the second login. If you believe that your password information is correct, the other possibility is that you aren't connected to the Cisco ASA. Therefore, the credentials aren't able to pass over correctly, which would also return you to the main logon screen. Please consider a call in to our tech support department at this time. Also recognize that you can still log on using your old username and password if you need to continue reading studies. If you've made it successfully through the username password prompting, you should be forwarded through to some of the more familiar menus. Some may also see a password reset warning. This prompt is notifying you that your 45-day grace period for your password is about to expire. You can click OK to bypass this prompt. From this point forward, you should continue to use your Active Directory credentials to log into RadApp from all reading locations. This also brings us one step closer to a single unified password. Now that you've logged in, let's shift our attention to the Admin tab, where several new features exist. The first feature is RadHQ Auto-Launch. If enabled, the RadHQ page will be launched automatically when you log on to RadApp. Note, there is also a button which can manually launch the RadHQ page. Please test this button now. We've set up everything such that you should not be prompted again for a username and password when you enter the site. If you are prompted, you should contact technical support to reapply the fix for this. Also note that the Change Password button can now be used to refresh your Active Directory password if it is about to expire.